Before we get started, thank you for clicking on this video. I'm telling you now, the celebrity secrets we're about to uncover will leave you speechless. With that being said, let's get into it.
If you laughed at the Drewski Erica Kirk thing, then straight up you gotta laugh at this. And you'll know I got no love for Jake Paul. He's a wall kisser. But yeah, that's funny. It's funny. I don't know. The Drewski thing was funny. This is also funny. Hey, by the way, I know that there's been 4 whistleblowers over the last few decades who have come out claiming the exact same pattern of ritual child sacrifice at Bohemian Grove amongst the world's elites, and every time they just get discredited and disappear from the media. Let's start with Fiona Barnett, Australian lass back in, I think, the 60s or 70s, came out with accusations that she was assaulted by the Prime Minister, the Interior Minister of Finance, and then a future Prime Minister. She wrote a book about it. Do you want to know what I found interesting? I was Googling her after I found out about her. This is what comes up on Google. So they've literally, they've made this cute little author, Fiona Barnett, but it's the only images that come up. You don't even get an image on Google search anymore for this woman, the original one. And then, interestingly enough, the book that they made the fake Fiona write is called The Darkness Between the Trees, which is basically Bohemian Grove. Now, the fictional novel that Fiona Barnett wrote is about soldiers in a war or something. But, like, isn't that so cruel? So they're literally, like, erasing this woman from history and replacing her with this little cute version that wrote a fiction book. But the fiction book itself is still referencing Bohemian Grove. Fiona also went on to say that they dressed her up as a teddy bear at Bohemian Grove and then hunted the children dressed as teddy bears. Moving on. You have MK Ultra survivor confirmed, Kathy O'Brien. She came out saying that Bohemian Grove was the first Epstein Island, or just a version of Epstein Island. Not the first. Sadly, these things have existed forever. The fuck? Anyways, she was assaulted by Reverend Billy Graham, good friends with Richard Nixon. She mentioned something about globalists stealing elections and a new world order. But I'm sure that's just hogwash. Crazy talk.
All right, we've got more proof that the Artemis moon mission has been faked and they're using CGI. Look at this ball. You can see words and letters through it it's like a glitch. They messed up. They weren't trying to show you guys that, but there's a certain layer on this completely CGI object, and part of the colors are not working right, and they're revealing the text behind it. And they asked this guy to move it. This Artemis moon mission had one goal, and that is to red pill the entire population about what has actually been going on with NASA for the past 60 years, ever since they first went to the moon in 1969. They're showing you all these errors on purpose to get the public thinking about the fact that, oh, wait a second, has this been faked before? Has everything been an entire lie this whole time? Has this all been done on green screen with a film crew and professional directors such as Stanley Kubrick, who know how to fake a scene to make it look believable and emotionally connect to the viewer and get them attached to it? People are now learning the truth about all this. Yes, it has been filmed on a green screen this entire time.
Interesting. That is absolutely crazy.
Okay, this video was recorded from an Argentinian Navy aircraft. The lights on the ocean here are 300 Chinese shipping vessels, which go off the coasts of countries once they're in international waters, and they go crazy. You do this off the coast of the Galapagos Islands, all over the place, especially third world countries. They go to third world countries, they don't even have much of a navy at all, and they fish all hell out of that freaking ocean, man. And this is the same thing off the coast of Peru. Chinese fishing vessels arriving to fish everything they can. And notice they stay outside of the zone. So they're not technically in Peruvian waters. They're at the very edge and they get everything they freaking can. Now, I know that in China, a common greeting, we have like, hey, how you doing? Their common greeting is, have you eaten? And apparently this started because of the great famine they went through, which traumatized so many millions of people, that now it's all about, if you can eat, eat now. If you can get as much as you can. And my grandfather-in-law was Hungarian and fled Hungary during the Soviet occupation in the 1950s. And he still to this day, or up until he passed rather, would get every single baked good he could freaking get his hands on, because when he was a little boy, he couldn't get any. Sweet cakes, cookies, chocolate stuff. He became like a hoarder for it because it traumatized him so much being young, seeing it in the shops, not being able to afford it. But this has, bled over into overfishing the heck out of the freaking oceans, man. You got to let it repopulate. Otherwise, we're all screwed. So I do wonder what the solution is here. I mean, laws, are they going to follow them? I don't know. But clearly this isn't a big deal for the major corporations that are controlling our world. Otherwise, something would be being done about it. But there's probably no profit in stopping China from overfishing the ocean. So I don't know how motivated they would be to do that work. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and follow for more.
Today I'm going to destroy NASA because they are lying to you. So if you guys are unaware,
crazy
Artemis 2
statement
went to the moon
to
on
say
April
on video.
1st or April Fool's Day. But if that's not enough, let's look at the name. So the name NASA in Hebrew means to beguile or to deceive. And if you look at the logo, you can literally see the serpent tongue that goes right through it. And across history, the serpent literally means what? Deception. You're probably asking, what are they hiding from us? They can't go to the moon. There is a firmament in the sky. In 1962, there was a project called Project Fishbowl. Basically what it was a series of missiles they shot up into space that exploded because they can't go to space. And of course, this project failed. If you look across history, all these civilizations told us that our world is a dome. The only people telling us that our world is a ball, a spinning globe, is NASA. And I know I'm not the biggest Bible advocate because it is fallible text, but here's the cherry on top. In the very beginning of Genesis 1:6-8, and God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. You have to understand that they have to give you droplets of the truth. They would not distort something this significant for no reason. Because if you believe we're spinning on a globe, flying through formless space, through an endless universe that has existed for billions and billions of years, all of a sudden your life starts to feel insignificant, like an accident, like temporary. And when you feel insignificant, the idea of a creator seems distant. It doesn't even seem like a truth that could be a possibility. But if you flip the perspective for a second and you realize what we are living in is something contained in the midst of the waters, your existence would not feel like a coincidence anymore. And in that kind of world, you would have complete conviction that the creator is all. It's here.
Breaking news. At this time, this was yesterday or last night, emergency crews are on the scene of a massive fire at an egg farm near Corwith, Iowa, which has spread to multiple buildings. So egg farm's on fire, Nebraska's on fire, fuel or energy crisis looming. This kind of reminds me, you realize they're talking about lab-grown meat and lab-grown butter and all this crazy stuff, but no one's going to eat that stuff unless there are very, very few alternatives. In other words, if the whole food system were to collapse and change drastically, that's the only way they'd have any chance of implementing the lab-grown strange stuff.
Yeah.
Don't you think it's an interesting situation that in the last 100 years, we went from 75% of people grew their own food, knew how to farm, knew how to can, knew how to jar. And now 95, 98% of people live in cities. Well, it's actually 50% of the planet lives, 50% of the world lives on 1% of the land. But my point is that people aren't farming anymore. We're totally dependent on grocery stores and gigantic factory farms. So they get us dependent on it, and then they pull the plug and take us to the next stage of their control system. Now, I can't say I have all the solutions to this shocking situation that's going on, but I can say there is a concerted effort to keep you in a lowered state of consciousness and alter your vibrational frequency with the crazy chemicals in the food, air, and water supply. And right now, Chalk is giving away free $100 bags of the organic heirloom cacao from Bolivia, the Chalk Lit Powder, which is super detoxifying and delicious. And if you combine that with the hot water purified Shilajit, you're getting some of the most potent adaptogens in the natural world. Comment free below and check your DMs for details.
Stop what you're doing. This man, while 160,000 miles away from planet Earth on a journey to the moon, just made a statement without any preparation that is going viral.
I think these observances are important. And as we are so far from Earth and looking back at, the beauty of creation, I think for me, one of the really important personal perspectives that I have up here is I can really see Earth as one thing. And, when I read the Bible and I look at all of the amazing things that were done for us who were created, it's you have this amazing place, this spaceship. You guys are talking to us because we're in a spaceship really far from Earth, but you're on a spaceship called Earth that was created to give us a place to live in the universe, in the cosmos. Maybe the distance we are from you makes you think what we're doing is special, but we're the same distance from you. And I'm trying to tell you, just trust me, you are special. In all of this emptiness, this is a whole bunch of nothing, this thing we call the universe. You have this oasis, this beautiful place that we get to exist together. I think as we go into Easter Sunday, thinking about, all the cultures all around the world, whether you celebrate it or not, whether you believe in God or not, this is an opportunity for us to remember where we are, who we are, and that we are the same thing and that we got to get through this together.
What did you think of that message? Was that exactly what humanity needed to hear with all of the things going on in the world? Or do you feel a different way about that? Let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to stay up to date with what's going on in the world and much more.
NASA just officially dropped the second batch of Artemis photos, and honestly, some of these are more insane than the ones I showed you yesterday. Yesterday, I was able to show you the Earthrise, the eclipse, and the craters, but NASA was apparently hiding the best of them for last. They were able to capture a photo of the Milky Way galaxy from over 200,000 miles away with zero atmosphere and zero light pollution. It's beautiful. But also, there's now the brand new eclipse photos that are on a completely different level, and there are way more of them this time. In some of the photos that they were able to get, you can actually see the Orion spacecraft in the frame. That is like the ultimate selfie. And then there's the crew photos, which is obviously all 4 astronauts floating with the American and Canadian flags, taking group photos 250,000 miles away. They even just took a photo of all of them wearing solar eclipse glasses and just grinning at the camera. These are officially the farthest selfies that have ever been taken in human history, and they look like they're having the time of their lives. They were 250,000 miles away from Earth, and they were posing for group photos with solar eclipse glasses on. Priorities.
Jeffrey Epstein was obsessed with the color blue, and it has to mean something. So I talked about this in one of my longer videos, but if you take a look at Epstein's properties, the color blue is more prevalent than almost any other color. And it's used in such strange ways. Like, for example, blue carpet like this. I mean, when do you see something like this? You've got blue couches. You've got blue artwork. You've even got blue on the curtains. Obviously, this room is a blue lover's fever dream. You've got blue on the floor, blue on the cushioning. You've got an actual blue chandelier. You've got blue on the curtains, blue on the patterning painted on the walls. Now, entering one of the hallways in the residence, blue curtains once again. And here's another look at that blue room. You've even got a blue table and a blue lamp. Epstein's kind of main office room, I think this is like a bluish pillar to the left. Blue frame, and then the ceiling is painted this dark kind of royal blue. Here's a better look at that ceiling. I mean, you can't make this up. This was in Epstein's house. A literal blue sculpture. Like, I don't want to say it, but a sculpture. Moving on to the bathroom, you've even got blue towels. You've even got entire rooms that were painted blue, like this room. Blue on the bed. I mean, there's blue on the carpet again here. Here's another hallway with what appear to be blue highlights on the walls, and then that very distinct blue carpet. And all the way to the upstairs of the home. I mean, the blue stairs is just crazy. And it opens up at the top to blue walls. To me, this is just so unbelievably strange. I mean, there's even like a blue, what is this, an electrical cord that something's hanging on? I couldn't really tell you. So what is up with this fascination? Why the color blue? I've asked a lot of people, and I have looked into this myself many times, and I haven't been able to find a definitive answer or even a potential answer as to why he would be obsessed with this color and be placing it everywhere. But if you have any ideas or suggestions, please let me know, because this is just something that I've noticed looking at thousands and thousands and thousands of photos relating to this case. And it's really, really bizarre to me. He is literally obsessed with the color blue. Go look at the photos from his other properties. That obsession is still apparent at those other properties as well. I mean, all the way to the temple on Epstein Island. But yeah, let me know your thoughts below and follow along for more.
So, every single year, Colorado celebrates a frozen dead guy. Yes, this is 100% real.
Let's talk about it. So let's go back to the 1980s where a man named Bretto, he ended up dying in a place called Nederland, Colorado. Now his family thought science could bring him back. So they literally put him on dry ice and put him in a shed. And yeah, he's literally still there today. I have no idea how. But here's the even wilder part. Yes, this gets wilder. Instead of them shutting it down, they turned it into a festival. And it's literally called the Frozen Dead Guy Festival. Yeah, they have things like put people in a coffin and throw them down a hill race. They have Frozen themed competitions. They've got dressed like a Viking day, and all this to celebrate a frozen dead human being. So let me ask you this. Is this a respectful tribute, or is this one of the craziest things you've ever heard, or an intersection of both? I'd like to hear in the comments below what you guys think. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Pizza delivery man's one small act of kindness is now changing his life. 68-year-old Dan, the Domino's pizza delivery man, was delivering an order when he saw that they had tried to order Diet Coke, but his store was out. He decided to make a stop along the way to get them the Diet Coke they were wanting. When the family getting their pizza was in shock that he went out of his way to get them their drink, he told them not to worry about it because their $6 tip they had already given him for the order was more than enough. But the people getting this pizza and their drink were stunned. They didn't have any more cash to tip him to thank him for his kindness. So they shared Dan, the pizza delivery man's small act of kindness online and then started a GoFundMe. And when Dan found out about it, he was shocked to see how much it had raised.
Yes, it just blew up and went crazy, which I find hard to believe. And I think now it's up to $18,465. I checked just before you guys got here. That blew me away.
But that was the last time he checked it. In the last 24 hours, it has now reached over 130,000. That's how much the average donation is. You guessed it, $6. Proving how compassion for others touches so many more lives than we realize. How one small act of kindness can grow into something life-changing.
That's so nice. That's really nice. You see, that's the stuff I'm into.
The deadliest rabbit hole of all time.
Good.
That's what people have called this website, and I decided to explore it with no prior research. Since last video, I discovered that I can actually click on these pictures and they will bring me to other links. And that Mickey Mouse picture immediately brings me to this webpage. Welcome to the Laughing Horse's Orifice headquarters. It's talking about human flesh, 777, a lot of weird stuff going on. And strangely, like some of the other ones, there is text hidden behind this green background that you can highlight and actually read. This is talking about some kind of like cells that were found in a water source in 2001, turning the water red that had no presence of DNA inside them. Pretty weird. I don't know what it means. Along with that, up here, we have reverse engineering the Bush presidency. Flight 77 disappeared from the radar over the southern Ohio. Talking about something with 9/11, I'm pretty sure. Quickly, if you like ARGs, internet mysteries, or even the dark web, join my Discord, link in bio. Now from here, I want to go a little bit deeper. I know these are usually links, so I'm going to click on the 777. Okay, so we have Donald Trump, Pinochet option, a CIA neoliberal mind control, Bush, Clinton, and Habsburg. I don't know what any of this is. Expect more updates. It's probably an ARG or an R project, so please don't spoil it for me in the comments.
It appears the A-10 Warthog isn't going away anytime soon. It's still getting updates and was seen testing with a refueling probe. This is how they're typically refueled from KC-135s, but now, as you see here, they'll be able to use a drogue, meaning they can refuel from a C-130 as well.
Whoa, technology.
China just revealed a drone the size of a mosquito so that it could spy on you from the inside of a room, and you would never even know that it's there. China's National University of Defense Technology unveiled it on state military TV. It weighs 0.3 grams, less than a raindrop, 2 centimeters long, and wings that beat 500 times per second. It mimics the flight pattern of a real mosquito. It's invisible to radar, and you control it with just a smartphone. It can go through windows, through vents, into any room a bug can reach. They're calling it informational reconnaissance and special missions on the battlefield. Battlefield. Right, because governments only ever do surveillance on just the battlefield. In Black Mirror's episode, Hated in the Nation, robot bees, or tiny autonomous drones the size of insects, were hijacked so that they could assassinate people. Experts are already comparing this drone that China unveiled to that episode. When surveillance is the size of an insect on your wall, then privacy doesn't just erode, it ceases to exist at all. If you want to continue to stay updated on more dystopian technology news, then sign up for my newsletter through the link in my bio. But as always, think about it, let me know what you think, and follow me.
It's so over. We're so screwed.
We need to talk about this video, which was posted to astronauts. They put it on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. They're literally in space, guys. I'm going to play the full-blown video for you now. Let me know if you notice what I'm noticing.
So this is our last time in the cupola. Yep. And I don't want to cry because the earth is so beautiful. Oh, I'm already there. It's been a real pleasure to go to space with you. You too. Yeah. And just like getting to see something that so few people get to see, which is so much. Make me cry. Oh my God, it is stunning.
What are we looking for?
It's just so beautiful.
Whoa. Say it. Come on, dude. What am I looking at? What's shocking? Why are you shaking your head? Clouds? The clouds?
We'll be home soon.
All right, guys, I literally am in space right now, too. It looks pretty real, right? Wow, it's gorgeous. Woohoo! Space with a fisheye lens and CGI. Boom, bang, bang. When you wake up to the deception that is space and NASA, which literally means to deceive, a lot of things, unlock in your consciousness. Because if that is being fibbed about, you can imagine what else is a complete lie. In fact, some call it the greatest lie of all lies. Because it would hide the existence of, it does a really good job of hiding the existence of God, and making you think you're this insignificant speck hurtling on a rock through space in a bajillion miles an hour, twisting and twirling through the cosmos. We gotta snap out of it, man. We only got a few years till 2030 when they plan to enslave this freaking ball or dome or sphere or flat plane. Come on.
It's a wild conspiracy.
Didn't know, apparently when they say jerky in the Epstein files, they're talking about child meat.
Going crazy? Think they found a code word for human meat? Wait, what?
This is disgusting.
Hope you are feeling better. Did we analyze the jerky? Why didn't we get jerky this week? Beef jerky, delicious. Jojo is here and we'll walk the jerky over to Jeffrey. We'll walk the jerky over to Jeffrey. Why would jerky walk around? Why would it do that? Delicious lunch, beef jerky. Steve and I are very grateful, above all, for your friendship. Some of these emails are so wholesome, aren't they? It's too bad they eat kids. A small insulated bag would be fine. I don't ruin checking it. No need for crazy amounts of ice. One should do. There is one bag of beef jerky in the fridge. Please get it. Also, Blank has more at her place. Please get it from her as well. I suppose it needs to be in a cold, insulated bag. Just wanted to touch base about jerky. J.E. said he was going to start eating regular food again, so he might be eating less jerky. He said he has 6 bags of it in the downstairs freezer. Why would you freeze jerky? Steve needs a 6 to 8 ounce portion of jerky. I gave you all the jerky we had, and it lasted only half the amount of time it was meant to.
I don't know. This world, it's so over.
The latest decision being made with this war should have everyone a bit concerned and possibly even scared. And why do I say that? The United States just deployed the E-6B Mercury nuclear command aircraft to the Middle East. And what is an E-6B Mercury plane? It is the actual plane that sends the signal to nuclear submarines. You heard what I said. It is the actual plane that sends the signal to nuclear submarines. And that signal is whether or not to launch a nuclear weapon. And once again, this video is not to fearmonger. It is to educate. We should be scared. We just sent our nuclear plane to the Middle East so that if we need to make a nuclear decision, we can do it within minutes. And you can take a look at it for yourself. E-6B Mercury movement. And you can see exactly that the plane is on the move to the Middle East. And this, once again, is the USA's doomsday plane. And this only comes out in the event of a possible disaster. And once again, they sent this plane right here to the Middle East. And once again, I've come across a lot of videos on social media where people are claiming that if there's a nuclear blast, what they're going to do. I'll give you one guess what you're going to do. Absolutely nothing. And that's reality. And once again, I cannot reiterate, we are living in some dangerous times right now. So once again, this video is not for the purpose of fear-mongering. It's for the purpose of education. And keep it in the back of your mind. Look it up for yourself. This plane right here signifies a lot. And if they have plans of doing what they plan to do, we are going to have a very, very big problem. And I pray for all that we don't. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
When you think of Idaho, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? I bet it's not a super haunted military cemetery or one of the best photos of a ghost ever captured. This photo was taken at the Fort Boise Military Cemetery, and it's probably one of the clearest photos of an apparition I've ever seen. Not just that, there's a very clear orb over one of the fence posts as well. But standing amongst the tall grass behind this giant tombstone, there is a man. And he actually looks like he's wearing military clothes. You can see the details in the man's face. This was taken during a ghost hunt in this cemetery, and the man actually almost looks translucent. Like you can see the fence post behind him as well. And I haven't seen this pointed out on this picture before, but it almost looks like there's something even taller standing next to him right here. But whatever that is, it doesn't look like a human. I'm not sure what that is. It even has a red face, so I'm wondering if it's like one of those interdimensional spirits that I've talked about before. What do y'all think?
That's crazy. You can't argue that. That's literally a person.
Well, Apple updates in the case of Lynette Hooker, the woman who's missing in the Bahamas. For one, now that we have a picture of the dinghy, I mean, it is possible that she fell off the boat due to bad weather. A lot of people were like, why are they getting on a dinghy at 7:30 at night? They were trying to get back to their yacht. At some of these docks, you can't bring a yacht into the smaller marinas. You have to anchor out in the water and then take a dinghy to the marina. They were trying to get back to their yacht and experience bad weather. I will say I do still find it odd that it took him 9 hours to paddle back to shore, and he ended up again in a completely different part of the islands from where they left. Obviously, if the weather was bad enough, that could be why it took him 9 hours. Lynette's daughter has made a statement. She said she is privy to little information relating to her mom's disappearance. My sole concern is to find out what happened to my mother and make sure a full and complete investigation is performed into her disappearance. Obviously, if there are any other updates, I'll keep you guys posted.
You guys think that it's just a coincidence that in 2019, shortly after the mass rollout of 5G technology, we had a massive COVID outbreak, something that is known to affect the respiratory system. Now, maybe I'm just thinking about this too deeply here, but there are some other anomalies that I'd like to share with you guys. Now, if we just go back a little bit further, you guys remember in 2009 when the swine flu pandemic started happening around the world? What's super interesting about that is that's the exact same year that they rolled out 4G technology. Must be just another coincidence, but let's go deeper now. Then we go back to 1998 where they rolled out 3G technology. The exact same time the avian flu outbreak happened. Of course, I'm just a crazy conspiracy theorist that doesn't know what he's talking about, but all of these coincidences just seem pretty interesting to me, don't they? It always seems like there's this plan to attack us, to make us sick, to make us weak, docile, stupid, submissive. They're trying to fill their own pockets by keeping us on Big Pharma's conveyor belt or something like that. Like I said, just a crazy conspiracy theorist. Nothing to see here, guys. But if you know, you know. This is why it's never been more important to be of sound body and mind. Take purified high vibrational supplements like chalk shilajit. Make sure the body has its essential minerals that it needs to run efficiently. Something that our loving government desperately tries to keep from us. And I have incredible lifetime discounts for you guys, so comment the word info and check your DMs. Peace and love.
I'm blown away by this. Apparently this is real. I saw it on my feed a couple days ago and I'm like, that's obviously AI. Apparently not. I'm gonna show you the video, don't worry, but people are speculating that this could be an angel. But guys, look at the way it moves.
Whoa. Okay, that's AI. That's AI. That's AI, right? That's AI? Please? Right?
Now watch the way it moves right here. Even experts have been talking about it all over social media. Look at one of the comments. As an AI expert, y'all, the light on the ground and on the bushes is very consistent. There is no warping of the background. This may very well be the real deal. Did you see the way it moved? Y'all, that's exactly how the Bible describes angels moving. Like, they say there's a scientific explanation behind it, and that may be true, but what do y'all think?
After reading the Epstein files, we all know the real reason why the Clintons were just admitted into Walter Reed Hospital. It's because they're having increasing symptoms of the Kuru disease, the cannibal brain-eating one. And if you don't know what that is, I'll explain it to you. But first, I gotta show you that we knew that Hillary Clinton was sick 10 years ago and was having issues appearing in public. So that's why we haven't seen much of her or her husband, because they've been having this terrible disease which comes from eating brains. If you eat the human brains of someone else, there's this protein called a prion, and it will live inside of you for years and most likely be dormant until your old age, when it starts suddenly having more drastic effects. The most prominent symptom is uncontrollable head shaking and laughter. People with Kuru also have to routinely excrete green mucus from their throat, which is disgusting, but you can see it in this clip right here. And in the later stages of Kuru, as seen with Jeffrey Epstein here, you'll start to see mouth sores pop up all over the place, which are highly transmissible.
Oh my god, wait, can we go back to that Hillary Clinton literally splitting out the green mucus and doing a head shake?
There's an equation that actually suggests that if aliens are real, they could be stuck on the planet they're on. Or at least some of them. This is the Tsiolkovsky rocket equation. And I'm an idiot and I'm not a physicist, but I do know how to read, so I kind of know what it means. This physics rule basically decides whether or not a civilization can get into space. So the problem is that rockets need fuel to go faster, and fuel has weight. So the more weight on the ship, the more fuel needed. Do you see where I'm going? Fuel is pretty heavy, so if you want to go a little bit faster, you will need exponentially more fuel, adding exponentially more weight. On Earth, we can barely do this. The mass of our rockets are 90% fuel or something crazy like that. And that's all just to escape the gravity of your planet. Now imagine if there was an alien planet with actual beings on it, but it was bigger than Earth. It had more gravity and a thicker atmosphere. To escape their orbit, they would not need just a little bit more fuel. They would need an insane amount of fuel. Even if they were a lot more advanced than us, it's still pretty plausible that they would just hit a wall with physics and just not be able to leave their planet. So theoretically, there could be entire civilizations looking up at the stars, knowing space is real, but they just cannot leave.
I'm going to show you video footage that I acquired on the dark web that shows a different density of water that exists beneath our oceans and our flat earth plane that we live on. From what I've been told on the dark web, this guy in the video has gone missing after this video was released. But if you look down on his feet, you can see he's already underwater, but below him is another density of water that is heavier and exists at the very bottom of everything in our known universe, which is just the Earth surrounded by the firmament. So it shows the heaviest water that there is with an impenetrable ocean. And this is some pretty freaky stuff when you see it, because unconsciously you know that this is not meant for us to be seen. Regular humans are not supposed to see the barriers of our realm that we exist in. But I'm here to tell you, there are ways to get past these barriers and go to other lands that not only exist past the ice wall, but in other planes of existence. And to do that, you basically have to become a different frequency, but I can talk about that in another video.
Some flash type thing vibrating through Earth.
Alright, I'm going to prove to you that those clouds out there are chemtrails, and they are literally creating the weather. So if you look at this screenshot, you can clearly tell it's 1:52, and it's supposed to be cloudy at 3 p.m. Now I'm going to show you a few more clips going to 3 p.m. and after, so you can literally watch it in real time. Them literally creating clouds and covering the sun. Because I'm not lying. I hope y'all realize they literally make the weather. That's how they know the weather. It's almost 2 p.m. right now, and at 3 p.m. for the next few hours, it's supposed to be cloudy. Now just watch. They're not predicting it, they just make it. And here's the proof. It's right in front of your eyes. Please wake up. These are not clouds. They are chemtrails. They make you dumb. They make you sick. They block out the sun, which is the most necessary nutrient on the planet.
That's wild. That's crazy. That's literally proof right there. That's insane.
What the fuck?
Before I continue this video, I want to warn you, please do not look up Appalachian Mountains at night unless you want to shit your fucking pants.
I just have one question for the people who decided to live in the Appalachian Mountains.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I'm gonna be honest, if you're one of those people who decided to live in the Appalachian Mountains, you genuinely have the IQ of a fucking brick.
I mean, seriously, why would you choose to live there? I looked up the Appalachian Mountains at night, and the first thing that I saw was like 20 plus videos of the most demonic and hell-sent creatures I had ever seen. Who is willingly living there on their own accord? I mean, seriously, did you guys lose a bet? Is there a curse on your family? Do you guys just have the combined IQ of like 10? This rabbit hole I went down with the Appalachian Mountains, especially at nighttime, just reminds me why I never go camping and I never will. Like, oh, you're gonna offer me $1 million to spend one night in the Appalachian Mountains?
No fucking thank you.
I need to look more into that. I gotta look into the lore of the Appalachian Mountains.
Sometimes a video goes viral on Al Gore's internet that is so impressive and so inspiring, such a spectacle, that it gets my wheels turning to come up with ideas. This is one of them. This is one of those videos. Here we have a woman handcuffed in the back of a police truck, escaping through a crack in the back window while the police were searching her pickup truck.
How do you do that?
Look.
How are you doing that?
They don't even see. They don't even see. They gonna kill her. They gonna be. Look. Look. Y'all seen it live. This is live. Oh my God.
This video had my jaw on the floor from every which angle. The mentality to have the balls to try to escape from a cop car when they just arrested you and they're like 20 feet away. The physical prowess to be able to squeeze through a crack in a window, get your whole body out, get your legs out while you're handcuffed. The way she maneuvers and then lands on her feet like a cat and then just scatters away. Like, this feels like this is the 40th time she's done this. Like, I imagine when those cops came back in the picture and look in the back of the car, they're like, fuck, Tammy's gone again. She did it again, Jim. The sheer physics of it all. How did she not break the window? How did she not fall down? How did she do this? She's like goddamn Spider-Man. And so I'm inspired. I think this was so entertaining and had me thinking, like, can other people do this? Are there other people who are better than her at this? We need a white trash Olympics. We need a white trash competition, and one of the events will be escaping from the back of a cop car while you're handcuffed through a crack in a window. And let me tell you something, this bitch is going to be on top of the podium getting the gold medal. Everybody else is playing for second. Maybe once White Trash Olympics starts to roll and the competition really starts to come in, then we'll see someone better at climbing out of the back of a cop car while you're handcuffed through a crack in a window. But for right now, she's like the Ronda Rousey. Like, there's just not that much competition. She's the only one we've seen do it. She's the GOAT. But I promise you go from sea to shining sea, you'll find a lot of people in this country that can compete in the White Olympics trying to escape from the back of the cop car.
If you ever think you're being scammed, remember the 3-finger test. This guy, I think his name was Jim, was very certain he was being scammed. And Jim is not the guy you see on screen. He's the one talking to this man. And it started as one of those like scammy emails, calls saying that like he has like this great thing for him to participate in. All he has to do is like give him a few $100s. He was going to make a ton of money. So Jim played along. It was like, look, if you're real, let's do a quick FaceTime. And to his surprise, this guy agreed. Then this was the face he got, which very much looks like a deep fake. He asked him to show him some of the stuff framed. He pulls down one of the frames without looking away from the camera, shows him a framed image with someone named Daniel, which was not this guy's name. And he was like, oh, Daniel's our director. We have a lot of directors, and like points to the other framed stuff. One looks to be like a framed blank page. So Jim knows about the 3-finger test, and he was like, hey, so can you put 3 fingers in front of your face for me if you're not a deep fake? A deep fake is a real person, but then they use your key facial features to then make you look like you're a different person, different gender, different ethnicity. That is 100% what he thinks he is dealing with here. Every time he asks to do the 3-finger test, put 3 fingers in front of your face because it will glitch the deep fake because it can't see all of your key facial structures to line it up properly. Does this, 2 fingers over his chest, then does 3 fingers, but again, different hands still over his chest. Then he does this.
Well, I don't think it is. If I'm making sure you're not AI, I think that's a reasonable thing to ask. Can you hold up 3 fingers in front of your face?
Well, I think that, is that enough?
No, it's not in front of your face.
I'm not AI.
He's really doing his best here.
That's too much, don't you think?
Yes, it is. Because, if you were real, you would put up 3 fingers in front of your face, yeah.
Not only does the very obvious scammer refuse to do the very simple task that anyone with 3 fingers could do, which he very clearly has, this scammer then tries to act like that's too much for him to ask. And when this potential victim doesn't back down on the 3-finger test, this scammer ends the conversation.
They've tried so hard to convince us that nuclear energy is the enemy because of Chernobyl. But Amazon, Google, and Microsoft are all buying their own nuclear reactors to power their Bitcoin mining and AI. Essentially, they're splitting atoms to heat up water that creates a steam that spins a giant fan that generates electricity. So, can I do that? I would like to be a part of this. Not a part of yours. I just think that that sounds like free energy, if not discounted energy. Anyways, this is my driver. Let me know if anyone wants to go in on a nuclear reactor with me. I tried to build a particle accelerator a few years ago, and I realized I can't do this without nuclear fusion. Sucks. And I didn't want to blow up the house.
Israel has just and continues to carry out a horrific massacre of Lebanon. This is historically evil. Over 150 bombs fell across everywhere in Lebanon, and hospitals are now begging for blood donations as the casualty numbers reach the thousands. These are some of the hardest strikes on Lebanon and Beirut in years. And it was 99% civilian strikes. 99% of the casualties are civilian. France, Spain, Egypt, and Pakistan have already confirmed Lebanon was a part of the ceasefire. They even bombed a funeral. This is the real video in Becca. Israel claims they were targeting Hezbollah. We know that was false. And they released this video showing that Hezbollah has allegedly moved to more populated areas of Beirut with this image. This is just false. So now they're giving their own justification for why they have to bomb civilian areas with women, children, and the elderly, which what they did today. The strikes are continuing right now on TV. Hundreds are dead. Tens of thousands are injured. The international community is in shock. World leaders are in genuine shock right now, calling Pakistan, asking, they're a part of the ceasefire, right? And Pakistan has confirmed, yes, they are as of this morning. Israel says this is going to continue. Iran says if this continues more than a few hours, the ceasefire is completely off and they're going to come to the help of Lebanon. This is a horrific massacre.
Okay, hold on a second. I just saw a bunch of posts about how the image of Earth that NASA gave us, if you mirror it down the middle, it looks like Baphomet with this goat head. So I did it myself, and I guess I mirrored the other side that other people were mirroring. But look what I got when I mirrored it, man. That looks even more Baphomet-y than the original that I saw. Now, we know that NASA released 2 images of the Earth 12 hours apart, where the clouds were in the exact same spot. Did everyone see that? We also know that this obviously is not Earth. I'm telling you, man, if you thought the files that got released were crazy, if you thought fluoride and GMOs and all these psyops and conspiracies were crazy, wait until you find out about the true nature of our reality, because it is literally mind-blowing. Why would they fake the moon? Well, for a lot of reasons, actually. So this is the original that I saw from Holistic Health Nut, and took me 15 minutes to figure out how to mirror this image. But this is what I got, and you got the 2 eyes, the goat horns, and the beard or the long face. I bet you there's a ton of images that have been released to the public of certain things that if we mirror them, have Baphomet or other stuff in it. Like the one I'm not going to share here, but the King Charles portrait. That one's fact checked now, so you can't even post that. Anyway, clearly they want you in a lowered state of consciousness and to be all spun up around the axle about what's going on today. Namely, with the fact they're putting strange chemicals in the air, definitely, and food and water supply. Well, if you think it's important to be detoxing and boosting your system naturally and decalcifying your pineal gland, right now Chalk is giving away free $100 bags of the organic heirloom cacao from Bolivia, the chocolate powder, which is super detoxifying and delicious. Plus, it boosts stem cell production. And if you combine that with the hot water purified Shilajit, you're getting some of the most powerful adaptogens in the natural world. Comment the word free below and check your DMs for details.
Bro's hustling. I can't skip that part,
Young men in Germany now need permission from the military before traveling abroad. Yeah, now this has become a huge political scandal because this law, which was passed months ago, was largely missed by both Parliament and the media. But now, it's already law. So for context, on the 1st of January this year, Germany's new Military Service Act came into effect. However, it took a local newspaper to surface a provision which almost everyone missed. Because according to Section 3 of the Revised Conscription Act, all men over 17 years old and under 45 who wish to leave Germany for more than 3 months must obtain permission from the German armed forces, even in peacetime. Now that, in theory, affects millions of German men because it doesn't matter if it's for an extended holiday, to study or work abroad, or even a gap year, you still need to notify and get permission. In fact, the German Ministry of Defense have since confirmed that this understanding of that law is correct, and its purpose is to know the whereabouts of potential conscripts if there's ever an emergency. Now, since saying this, they have tried to soften the way that this law would work in practice, saying that permissions to leave the country should generally be treated as granted, while military service remains voluntary. But this has still triggered major public backlash for two main reasons. The first is how wide-reaching this is, but the second is that many people are asking, why didn't the media pick up on this before it became law? And also pointing out that even some politicians seemed unaware of this provision, and they were the ones who were supposed to read it and pass it into law. So in response to all of this anger, the German military are now saying that they are, quote, currently developing detailed provisions to allow exemptions from the approval requirements.
Israel has bought Google and YouTube algorithms. And if you watch anything political or religious, you are being targeted through a contract with the government. These two companies have signed a deal with the Israeli government, which alters search results on those who look up religious or political answers. And all of these are in favor of Israel. And on YouTube, they're actually removing posts that criticize Israel. Over 700 videos so far. And this deal revolves around religious questions related to Christianity and Judaism, to which Israel has bought ads on Google that will suggest answers that is pro-Israel, and as well as the contract with YouTube that will again change search results from what you put in. Let's say you ask a question about Gaza. You're going to be promoted videos that the Israeli government wants you to see through their $1 million advertisement deal that will see pro-Israeli videos replace those of what you've been watching. Disguised, as I said, like an ad campaign, it's simply going to be replacing the videos that you've been searching for. The worst part is we don't know how long this contract is or when it goes into effect. Follow for more. The U.S. government is pressuring social media apps to change their algorithm to suppress anti-Israel content. This is Rabbi Kaploon, the first ever ambassador to combating anti-Semitism in the U.S. government. And he has just directed social media platforms to utilize their algorithms to suppress hatred towards Israel and use AI to label those who unfairly criticize the Israeli government. By the way, he was not born in the United States of America, but is telling us what we're supposed to say online. This is affecting mainly TikTok, but also Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and X. This will be taking place in January 2026, the same January in which everyone who wants to enter the US must give 5 years of their social media history to be reviewed for anti-Semitism. Also a part of this program is the AI integration that is going to be labeling users who are criticizing the Israeli government. As of now, we don't know what that means. Free speech in America is under attack with people who aren't even born here telling us what we're supposed to think.
That's wild. That is wild.
A total of 3 U.S. Air Force F-15s have now been shot down in Kuwait. This video that just surfaced shows the actual moment one of the F-15Es gets shot down. It immediately spirals out of control and enters a flat spin. And here's one of the 3 F-15s falling to the ground, engulfed in a ball of fire. All 3 of these shootdowns are being attributed to friendly fire, and thankfully all 6 crew members, the 3 Wizzos, and the 3 pilots ejected safely.
Have you seen this latest footages of the moon from the Artemis 2 mission? They noticed some movement, and so they zoomed in on the camera and look at this crater hole. there's an objector that comes out of it. Well, NASA's now saying, oh, this was just a smudge on the camera, but you can literally see the shadow. And so I'm curious what you think it is. I reached out to my cousin who works at PetSmart in the fish section, and she said, look at that movement. She said, look, there are asteroid edges that hit the moon's surface, but they don't usually come outside of the moon. And so
what does someone working at PetSmart in the fish aisle have to do with anything in the outer space?
to me, it seems like it's a UFO, but it just seems almost unbelievable. But I'm curious what you think.
He's entertaining.
The enemy really does come from within. Ashley Banfield, who is a well-seasoned, well-respected journalist, claims that a man named Thomas Ocioni is the #1 suspect in Nancy Guthrie's abduction. Who is Thomas Ocioni, you ask? Nancy Guthrie's son-in-law. Yep, he is married to Savannah Guthrie's older sister, Annie. Annie and Thomas were the last two people to be seen with Nancy when they dropped her off at her house at 9:45 on Saturday night. Banfield claims that her source says not only is 50-year-old Cioni the prime suspect, police have towed Annie's car in for forensic testing as they believe it's linked to the abduction and is suspected to have been seen near Nancy's home in the middle of the night. Multiple cameras connected to the home were smashed in and the back door was left wide open, which is interesting considering blood was found at the front door and inside the residence. The other major update to this story is that yesterday afternoon, TMZ reported receiving a ransom note. They turned the email over to police, but it was said to have demanded money in exchange for Nancy's safety or else. And reportedly, it listed some type of inside information that only someone present during the crime would know to be true.
If you use Google, Israel could have access to your data. Israel has implemented a backdoor winking mechanism into Google to force the company to hand over Americans' data. Google is using this information to identify Christians in America, to which they will then use YouTube to target pro-Israeli videos on their feed. And just like Israel buying ChatGPT answers, the US government has approved of this as well, allowing the Israeli government to identify you and then targeting ads at you to try to make you more pro-Israel. By the way, they've also struck this same deal with Amazon because Amazon is home to one of the biggest web services in the world. But more specifically, Israel is targeting Christians in America to promote Israeli history in Christianity, to convince Americans biblical Israel and the modern day Israel are the same thing, through YouTube videos and Google search results. The backdoor winking mechanism in Google that Israel has set up, that'll let them know whenever the US government asks Google, what the hell have you been handing over? Follow for more updates.
18 U.S. Air Force F-35s were escorted by KC-135 Stratotankers from the United Kingdom to the Middle East yesterday, which is one of the largest recent deployments of F-35s. The jets, part of the 495th Fighter Squadron, departed Lakenheath Air Base and headed southeast towards the CENTCOM area of operations. And like I said, they were accompanied by refueling tankers, specifically 6 KC-135s. And we all know why they're heading there: Iran. Investigators now say a controller may have stepped away just seconds before a fire truck and plane collided at LaGuardia. New details now show the NTSB is investigating whether one of the 2 air traffic controllers on duty briefly left their position to answer an emergency crash phone inside the tower. These phones are used for urgent situations. If you remember, another plane was having problems right before the accident. But investigators are now looking into whether stepping away, even momentarily, could have impacted what was happening in the tower at the time.
Okay guys, overnight, the US did not end a whole civilization, a ceasefire was agreed, and the Strait of Hormuz is reopening. What the hell? That's the kind of midweek news we needed, so what happens now? Is it all over? Hold your horses, buddy. What you can reasonably expect is a calmer next 2 weeks. Hopefully. Because that is the duration of this ceasefire that Iran and the US agreed to just 2 hours before Trump's deadline of 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The US said, we're gonna suspend all bombing, and Iran said, we're gonna let your ships pass. Trump confirmed they received a 10-point proposal from Iran, and he believes it's a workable basis on which to negotiate with the long-term problem close to resolution. Oh, and Pakistan, where you at? Because we want to thank you. You guys actually played a pretty major role as mediators in achieving this, albeit temporary, peace. In fact, all parties are coming out claiming that they took the W. Iran declared this is a massive victory for themselves, while the US said that this is a total and complete victory and a big day for world peace. Even oil dropped to below $100 after this announcement. Now, the only party not joining in the victory peace celebrations is Israel, because Netanyahu came out and said that Lebanon is not part of this ceasefire and they will continue with their operations. Next steps. Friday, both delegations from Iran and the US will head to Pakistan for negotiations, and the US said that they are even possibly considering for in-person talks, possibly involving JD Vance. So, not the end of the war, but a much-needed break. Keep you guys updated.
You've heard of wild and crazy conspiracies, but this one kind of makes a lot of weird sense. And why do I say that? Because apparently, since this all began right over here, you know exactly what I'm talking about. A lot of people are saying that they're not seeing certain clouds in the skies over the United States. And what I'm talking about are these kind of clouds all over the United States. If you take note, like I did, I listened to what people were saying. And we had an early spring day here in New York with temperatures reaching the 70s. And there was not a cloud in the sky, or these clouds as well. With some people claiming that the planes are too busy doing other things so that they can't do these things right over here. So I guess my question to you is, have you taken notice to these specific clouds being missing out of the sky due to the beginning of you-know-what overseas? Take note the next time you're outside, especially if it's sunny, like I did today in New York. There was not one to be found. It was a crystal clear blue sky, cloudless. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on this, and post photos if you see any of them in the comments as well. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Wow, that's crazy.
While we were all distracted with Trump's deadline for the war, the House Oversight Committee set a date for Bill Gates to testify regarding his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. This will happen on June 10th, and I have to wonder if they're going to ask him about the email where he's asking for STD medication for Melinda, ask him about the 2017 emails that show Bill Gates and Epstein discussing a pandemic simulation years before COVID-19, or ask about the conversation where Jeffrey Epstein asked Bill Gates, how do we get rid of all the poor people as a whole? Gates said that he welcomes the opportunity to appear before the committee and that he never witnessed or participated in any of Epstein's illegal activity, even though he had to apologize to his staff for having extramarital relations with Russian girls that Epstein procured. Would we call Melinda to the stand?
You care to say anything about that? You know, I think those are questions Bill needs to answer. Okay.
I'm sure he's just going to answer these questions like Bill and Hillary Clinton did when they had to testify.
She or any other young female on that trip underage at that time?
Not that I'm aware of. Or maybe he'll just say, it doesn't matter now because, well,
he's dead. So, in general, you always have to be careful.
I'm sure that's exactly what he'll be when he's answering these questions. As always, I want to hear what you think about all of this down below.
I can't believe that the rich can just... it's in writing. It's literally in writing. Everything. Oh, he's no longer alive.
August 10th, 2019, a woman seems to have a premonition just 38 minutes before the incident. That's what it feels like. This woman is at work, and the past few hours, she has been, by all objective accounts, a pretty bad employee. She's been looking up furniture sales online. She's been taking a nap. But for some reason, at 5:52 in the morning during her night shift, it's no longer sofas and coffee tables. This woman types into the search bar of her government computer, latest on Epstein in jail. Her desk is just 15 feet from Jeffrey Epstein's jail cell. She's supposed to check up on him every 30 minutes through the night, but she and her fellow officer do not do that. And instead of getting up and walking over to see Jeffrey Epstein in jail, another search is made 10 minutes later, 5:52 a.m. Latest on Epstein in jail.
That's weird.
Some people could call it a premonition because just 38 minutes later, Jeffrey Epstein is found dead in his jail cell. But when the DOJ asked her about it, she says, I don't remember doing that. So for reasons she says she can't recall, she used her work computer twice, allegedly, to look up the man she was supposed to be watching who was 15 feet away from her. She looked him up right before the rest of the world even knew he was dead.
Was this like the latest?
Yes, it was released in the latest Epstein files on January 30th.
That's freaking insane.
And there's more. Chase Bank had flagged the FBI of suspicious transactions to her Chase account, cash deposits. All of them were under $10,000. It was like a total of $11,000, but experts weighed in and they said for Chase to flag those types of cash transactions
To the FBI?
to the FBI means that it must have been a certain cadence. And interestingly, one of the biggest cash deposits, which was like $5,000, was the same day that Jeffrey Epstein was moved into the special housing unit, which is the unit that she is in.
Wow.
So all of this, I mean, the answer could be as simple as this is all a coincidence, or maybe it is a glitch in the computer, or it could be as dark as some people just know things before they happen, and maybe it has nothing to do with a premonition. That is what the House Oversight Committee wants to know, and why they want to formally interview Epstein's jail guards again, to answer all the questions, not just about the searches, but also how the exact day that Epstein is returned to the special housing unit, the same guard gets a cash deposit to her bank account, why Chase Bank flagged 12 separate cash deposits to her bank account as suspicious activity, and why at the time knowing all of this, the Department of Justice never questioned her about any of the cash deposits. And the only reason that we know any of this is because it's been released in the Epstein files.
This emergency school board meeting has been called in a small town in Tennessee, all because of one man. Because of what he did, this small town is expecting not just hundreds, but potentially thousands of its active and former citizens showing up to see what will happen to Keith Irvin. All over what this man did to a high school student during a public school board meeting, where Keith Irvin was not only present, but he is an active school board member.
God, you're hot. You know that? Where you go to school at? I go Crockett. All right.
Now that everyone has seen and heard what this man did to this high school student during a school board meeting, not only scheduled protesting, they have petitions up to have him removed, but now an emergency meeting has been called by one of the other members of the school board. Surely this emergency meeting was called by the superintendent, Jerry Boyd, who was literally sitting on the other side of that child as this happened to her, and then did and said nothing to stop it, and then laughed along with everyone else. He told a child how hot she was to him. Nope. The board member who is calling this emergency meeting is one of the women on the school board. Meet Annette Buchanan, who after the shock of this moment has worn off and now everyone has seen it, she said enough is enough. Problem being, and the reason why everyone is going to be showing up to this meeting is because they can't fire this man. He has to resign. But Keith Irvin has already stated on the record that he does not think he did anything wrong. Given the chance to go back in time, he would do it all over again. Showing you the level of audacity we're dealing with. Refusing to resign is not a shock at this point, but the fact that why would he think that he should be held accountable for his actions? He hasn't just been on the school board for a few years, he's served multiple terms, has had multiple ethical complaints filed against him. The only difference being that he said this to a high school student during a publicly recorded meeting, that it's just not Keith Irvin the citizens of this town are coming for. They're coming for their superintendent as well. We'll see how this emergency school board meeting goes and if Keith Irvin still feels like he shouldn't have to resign.
Everest 2026 is going to be the most dangerously crowded in history. And it's not just because more people want to climb it, it's also because the north side is closed, which means every single climber is being forced onto one route. The same ropes, the same camps, and the same weather window, all of them going up at the same time. Now, Nepal has tried to introduce some new rules, like a tracking chip that doesn't really work unless someone's really, really close to you. Solo climbing is banned, but people are still solo climbing, they're finding ways around it. And that whole rule about climbing a 7,000 metre mountain, that hasn't actually come in just yet. And the new rules, based on all the crap that's up the mountain. And I go into this in far more depth on my YouTube channel. Yes, it's a bit dramatic, Everest is over. This is the name of my channel, Michelle vs. Humanity. I've also got a Patreon, which has a free trial at the moment for 7 days. I'm going to stop that fairly soon. Links in my profile. and follow me for the unhinged shit.
Many people have been asking the same question for years. What is going on with our weather? And why do they ask that? Because many people believe that something is going on with our weather, something that somebody could be controlling. And this next video might answer a lot of those questions or raise even more. Take a listen to this.
We have a thunderstorm.
Listen.
We've got a lot of things happening today that could potentially limit our risk of severe weather later tonight. But if they don't change the atmosphere, then we're still primed for severe weather tonight.
If they, who's they? What does she mean by they? If they don't change the atmosphere tonight, that's the quote, we might have severe thunderstorms. Take a listen to that one more time.
We have a thunderstorm. We've got a lot of things happening today that could potentially limit our risk of severe weather later tonight. But if they don't change the atmosphere, then we're still primed for severe weather.
The video sparked a lot of debate and a lot of conversation, rightfully so. Once again, who is they? And what is she talking about? So like I said at the beginning of the video, it was either going to answer a lot of the questions you might have had about what's going on with our weather, or give you a brand new set of questions to be asking. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
I saw what Albert Einstein said about the war. I know not with what weapons World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones.
Yeah, you know why he said that?
Fam, it's because if we have nukes, we have AI.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna come into another stone age after this. Like, God forbid anything happen, right?
Some people think that's already what happened.
That's already what happened.
Yeah, some people think like there's ancient civilizations were just as advanced as us.
Yeah.
And war happened. The Tartaria theory.
Yes.
Ancient civilization just underneath all of the mud, pretty much built over on top. Do you think they're still in control or they're actually just panicking right now?
The fact that we're making like a big deal of this, they're 100% still in control.
Yeah, because what if that's part of the plan?
That is part of the plan.
Guys, this is your Day 7 update. The Artemis crew just left the moon's gravitational field, and right now they are being pulled back to Earth. They are now being pulled towards Earth from over 200,000 miles away, which is exactly how this entire mission was designed to work. The moon's gravity bent their path all the way around and threw them back towards home without a single main engine burn. That is insane. No propulsions needed, just physics doing the entire thing on its own. Okay. Basically, they're going to be coasting for the next 3 days, firing small thruster burns along the way to fine-tune their path home. The re-entry that's scheduled for Friday is going to hit 25,000 miles per hour with a heat shield that'll reach 5,000 degrees. Splashdown will be off the coast of San Diego with a Navy recovery ship already out there waiting for them. This crew just flew further from Earth than any human ever has in history. They saw things that no human has ever been able to see before, and in 3 days, they are going to be back home. Obviously, you know everything that I'm posting right now, so make sure you go ahead and add me now because I am here every single day with updates until the Artemis crew is back on Earth.
Bible verses that make me scared of the ocean. This is like a subreddit to my terrifying ocean series. There's so many verses in the Bible that are gonna make you not want to ever dip your toesies in the ocean. Like, I can't. Let's just dive right into it. Number 1, Isaiah 27:1. The Lord will punish Leviathan, the fleeing serpent, the twisting serpent. He will slay the monster of the sea. This is proving. Okay, y'all, wait, but here's the question. A lot of y'all are saying, and maybe I haven't read this part in the Bible where you guys are saying that God took out the Leviathan, like the Leviathan's dead. Then the other half of y'all are saying that there were 2 Leviathans. Some people translate it as having 2 heads, and other people translate it as there were 2. God took out the female so it couldn't reproduce, but there is a Leviathan still in the sea to come out in the end times. Am I understanding this right? Please correct me if I'm wrong. I want to be wrong because understanding that the Mariana Trench, I say this every single time, the Mariana Trench is so deep that if Mount Everest was in the water, it would still be a mile from the tip of Mount Everest to the surface. So that being said, there's so much room for a little levy to be at the bottom, just, swimming around. Next one. This one is so simple, but if you think about it, it's so not simple. Genesis Back to the beginning. Genesis 1:2 says, darkness was over the surface of the deep. So you're telling me before anything existed, it was water? There was water there? Because the Bible says there's waters above and waters below. So this is exactly why, listen, call me crazy, call me tinfoil, but have y'all seen like a rocket ship in the sky? It literally looks like it's underwater. It literally looks like it's underwater. I believe that space is the ocean and the ocean is space. Come for me if you want. Come for me if you want. Let's keep going. This one, a lot of people probably wouldn't even find it terrifying, but Jonah 2:5-6. The engulfing waters threatened me. The deep surrounded me. To the roots of the mountains, I sank down. So we really have to think about like what Jonah actually went through. Obviously, we know he was swallowed up, stayed in the belly of a fish. Can you actually freaking imagine falling into the deep sea and then getting swallowed? Like, we don't talk about that enough. Okay, he gets out, he does God's will at the end of the day, as he should. However, we don't talk about how we got there. Am I the only one that like gets shivers from that? Like, that's only 3. There are plenty more, but listen, y'all, as always, I'm gonna ask you, make sure you like and comment, but do you want a part 2? Do you really?